Our next case is one you may have read about in the newspapers just before Christmas. Shortly after midnight on Monday the 19th of December, 22-year-old photographer Lorraine Benson was murdered after spending the evening at a staff Christmas party in Clapham in South London. The tragedy is the greater because shortly before she was killed, several witnesses saw or heard things that made them suspicious, but they weren't sure enough to call the police. It's a message to all of us. If any of us sees or hears something that worries us, always notify the police. They really won't think you're wasting their time. Because there are so many clues and sightings of Lorraine that night, there's a better than usual chance that Crimewatch viewers may be able to help identify the killer. Our reconstruction begins to the south of London in Croydon, where Lorraine had been working as a photographer.
Just keep nice and still. Nice big smile for Mum. Come on.
Lorraine worked for a company called Pastel Portraits, which specialises in taking family portraits in department stores. Over the Christmas period, she was based at the Children's World store in Croydon.
And smile. Right? Lovely. Hang on.
Lorraine had a special way with children. She was good at her job and determined to do well.
Beautiful.
When Lorraine left work at 5:30 that Monday evening, she was carrying a carrier bag and a blue holdall with a change of clothes in it. She probably went by train to Clapham Junction. Perhaps you saw her. She'd been invited to a staff Christmas party at the Arding and Hobbs department store in Clapham, where she used to work. She changed out of her work clothes somewhere en route, but the blue holdall has so far not been found. Lorraine was due to go back to work at Arding and Hobbs just after Christmas. She was looking forward to it and seemed to enjoy the party, meeting old friends again. Seven miles away, Sarah Patterson was leaving Rains Park Station on her way home.
I'd been out for the night with some friends to the cinema, and I arrived back on the train from Waterloo at about 11:40. I came onto the tunnel, across the road, and began to walk down Coombe Lane.
I'll walk you home. What's your name? Oh, sorry, I'm Jeff.
I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
The man followed Sarah as she turned into Durham Road. She remembers he was well-spoken and had a nervous laugh. He told her he'd just lost his job in the city.
I used to work for Morgan Grenville.
Sarah crossed the road and the man followed no further.
Bye.
Will you go out with me, Sarah?
At about the same time, Lorraine and her friends were leaving the party in Clapham. Lorraine asked two of her friends to walk her to the station. The train for Rains Park was the 11:36 from Waterloo to Chessington South. It arrived at Clapham Junction at 11:44. George Holdsworth had just left the same party. He was looking for a smoking carriage. George and Lorraine had worked together at Arding and Hobbs.
Take care.
So, what are you doing on this train then?
I'm going to see my mates. Staying the night in his place.
Oh, really? What's that for?
He's gone off to Australia tomorrow, so I'll go down the airport to see him off.
The train arrived at Rains Park at 11:53. George remembers the station was almost empty. As they walked out of the station, Lorraine told George she had to ring her friend to ask him to meet her. So George left her at the phone box.
All right, take care then.
Yeah, and you. Happy Christmas.
All right.
Hello. Hello, Lottie. It's Lorraine. Look, I'm down at the station. Can you ask Peter to come down and meet me?
No, I'm sorry, love. He's not back yet.
Oh, it's all right. It doesn't matter. Look, I'll start walking up on my own. See you later.
Lorraine was never to get there. But several people did see her as she headed down Coombe Lane towards the A3. These skateboarders and this minicab driver were about half a mile further down Coombe Lane and near the road Lorraine was heading for. As the cab driver drove round the Cops Hill roundabout, he saw a man standing on the corner. The man seemed anxious to hide his face. Back near the station, bus driver Brian Laverick was coming to the end of his route.
I come out of Rains Park and turn right about 12:10 at night. I was empty, out of service, no lights on the bus whatsoever. I was travelling along Coombe Lane towards Kingston. Then I noticed a girl walking in a white mank. She was walking alone, she was on her own.
Joseph Cottrell lives halfway down Coombe Lane. Something about that angry shout worried him, and without stopping to put his shoes on, he went outside to investigate. He crossed the road and watched for some time what he thought was perhaps a couple making up after an argument. But he still felt uneasy. He put on his shoes to go out again. Now the street was empty. Alan Fuentes is a Hackney cab driver.
I got to Cambridge Road and I see this couple. The young lady was just standing there, like, facing outwards, and the fella was waving his arms about like they were arguing. They didn't show out, so I just carried on, sort of thing, and that was it.
And one last disturbing sighting. A couple were driving home past the Cops Hill roundabout.
Do you think she's all right?
Yeah, she's probably drunk.
At about midnight, Jason and Nathan Cook were still skateboarding opposite Cambridge Road.
Jason, did you hear that?
The scream seemed to come from the direction of the allotments. Next morning, police found Lorraine's body near a path that runs alongside these allotments. She'd been strangled. Well, Detective Superintendent David Fielding is in charge of this case. Just to get it absolutely clear to start with, was Lorraine the sort of girl to go off with somebody?
She certainly wouldn't. Lorraine put up a tremendous fight. Her honour was very important to her. And of course she paid the ultimate price. She lost her life. And I feel that someone certainly knows who killed Lorraine. And I asked them to think about it, call us tonight.
The sad thing is that the whole story is full of if-onlys. So many people saw Lorraine in circumstances that concerned them but didn't do anything about it.
Well, Lorraine telephoned home, spoke to her father at about 8:30 that night to say that she wouldn't be home that night. She arrived at Rains Park Station hoping to be met and then would walk along to her ultimate destination. Unfortunately, her friend wasn't there to meet her. After that, she made a telephone call and then she walked down this very wide, brightly lit road facing the oncoming traffic. So she minimised the risks. Yes.
You've seen the sightings that those witnesses saw. What are the gaps now in what you know about Lorraine's walk down Coombe Lane?
Well, we know about the confrontation that she had about half a mile down, but I'm certain that other people in that area saw something suspicious. They may have seen Lorraine either on her own or being followed down the road or arguing with this man who we've seen on the video. And also, it's possible that someone else has seen this character who turned his back on the cab driver at the roundabout. And we want to know who he is and who is the man arguing with Lorraine.
Yes, anybody should come forward. They might have this vital piece of information that might trace this man. There's his description there. He's 6 foot tall, thin, hollow-cheeked, unshaven, dark collar-length, scruffy hair, well-spoken, and he calls himself Jeff. Do you think Jeff and the suspect could be the same man?
It's possible. But someone must know who Jeff is, and I would ask them, come and see us. We've got to speak to him, perhaps to eliminate
There's one
him.
more sighting which could be vital and took place 2 days before the murder on Saturday the 17th of December. A woman was cycling home down the pathway where Lorraine's body was found, and she remembers seeing a man who looked like a tramp and tending a fire. He stepped into her path and forced her to swerve. So again, that tramp could be, again, the same man as Jeff and the suspect you're looking for who was seen Lorraine.
Could be. We certainly want to know who the tramp is and who Jeff is, yes.
Well, finally, we still haven't found a belt that Lorraine was wearing that night. That could provide a clue if somebody could find that.
It's the one item or accessories that is missing, and we certainly want to find it. It's possible that it's been thrown away or hidden even. So, yes, anyone who got any information about that, please come and see us.
If you recognise that or if you can help in any way, I know that the local people feel so strongly about this, they've got together to put up a reward to find whoever killed Lorraine. The number to the studio here is 018118055, or the direct line to the incident room at Wimbledon Police Station is 01541 1212. That's 01541 1212. If you know anything at all that might help, please do ring.
The first appeal tonight is, well, just that, an appeal. To be blunt, there are precious few clues. All detectives hope for is that someone in Oxfordshire has their conscience stirred and comes forward with their suspicions. It's frankly one of those crimes that, however rare, far less than one's chance of being struck by lightning and all that stuff, is nonetheless very hard indeed to solve without someone calling in with names and sightings. The victim was Vikki Thompson, who lived in Ascot under Wychwood.
Vikki was I can't describe how she was. She was just a very loving mother. She was a very caring wife. She always found time for me and for the children.
Come on, Miss Willie, come on, have a drive.
She put 100% of energy into everything that she did.
Ooh, not mummy then.
I think I drank too much last night. Any breakfast left?
You wait a minute, I'm about to get the kids' lunch.
Hey, watch it!
Jonathan, I was going to take Daisy for a walk.
Okay. I'll try and give your car a wash. It's filthy.
Bye.
Bye.
Half a mile away, a local man was walking past King's Standing Farm near the Charlbury to Burford Road.
As I peeked through the hedge, I could see this man stood there with no clothes on. And as I moved towards the hedge, he moved away. The next time I see the man, he's running across the cornfield. I could see then that he was 6 foot tall, very pale, thin, between 20 and 30 years old.
If you leave it there, I'll trip over it.
At about 4:15 p.m. on the London to Hereford main line, did you see anyone near the track between Charlbury and Kingham that day, Saturday the 12th of August?
Daisy came back without Mummy.
Archie's probably walking slowly. Daisy runs faster than Mummy. King?
When Daisy came home on her own, I didn't immediately see any cause for concern, as I expected that Vikki would soon come round the corner, that maybe she'd sent Daisy up the road and was talking to a friend. But as time wore on, I realised that something wasn't right.
Strap in now.
I needed to go out and look for her. When I got back to the house, I half expected to see her there. I was quite surprised when she wasn't there and realised I needed to go straight back out. So I left a note on the table and took my phone with me.
Haven't seen Vikki, have you?
No, we haven't.
Dog's come home without her. Been up to the lane, there's no sign of her.
Well, look, we'll go down and have another look.
Jonathan, haven't heard from you for...
Vikki's not with you, is she? She's missing. I thought she might drop by your place for tea on her way back or something.
No, she definitely hasn't been around here. Look, I'm popping down the lane in a minute, so I'll have a look if you want. You found this on the lane?
Carolyn's sure it's Vikki's.
I became more and more frantic and was very upset about the fact that I couldn't find her and just needed her to come round the corner and see everything was all right. I tried to keep the horrible thoughts that could have happened to her at the back of my mind for the sake of the children.
Hello, look, I'm sorry to bother you. There's this woman missing. Her name's Vikki. We found her bracelet. We've informed the police and everything, but you haven't seen anyone, have you? She's about 5 foot, slim.
No, we haven't seen anyone. Obviously, we'll keep a lookout.
Looks in a bit of a state, that chap, didn't they? What's that?
Oh, God. Look.
Vikki! Vikki!
Peter.
What's that?
Look. No, don't go in there, look. I'll go and get that bloke.
I was terrified that the attacker might still be in the area.
Hello? Excuse me! You can't quit, we found something!
Whereabouts?
There, in the field!
Where?
Just through there.
No, run to the nearest house. Call an ambulance.
Hereby, Jet Echo 4-1, Oxfordshire Way, Ascot under Wychwood. I believe we may have had a sighting of Vikki Thompson. Just going to see if confirmed.
Vikki had been beaten around the head, but there was no obvious motive for the crime. She died 6 days afterwards. David Blair, this has had a great deal of publicity locally and nationally. How can people help further?
I really want someone who may think they know who's done this, maybe sheltering them even, to come forward and tell us. It's really important. It's one of our main sort of lines of inquiry here.
How would people know? How would they have any suspicions?
Well, it might be from the demeanour of the person, or it might be that they were disposing of some clothing or something like this. There's no doubt that the offender's clothing would have been blood-stained in this case.
His behaviour, would it have been changed anyway?
Probably would have been a bit abnormal, yes. Could well have been, for a little while afterwards, certainly.
Now, we haven't got many clues to go on. There would have been a lot of people in that area. I mean, it's a holiday area. This is the peak of the holiday season.
That's right. Certainly there were campers, caravanners, there would have been hikers, walkers in the village. We've interviewed a lot of people in the village, of course, but anyone else who was there in Ascot-under-Wychwood on that Saturday afternoon, we would really like to talk to them, whether or not they think they know anything or saw anything.
One of them, or somebody, might have found this, or at least an identical one. This is a Flexi 3 dog lead. Now, if somebody has found this, what do you want to hear?
If somebody's found this, it would have been around the Ascot-under-Wychwood area, no doubt, on the Saturday or the Sunday. Please come forward and let us know. Or indeed, the offender himself may still be in possession of it.
OK, but you only want it from the Oxfordshire area. You don't want calls from the rest of the country.
No, indeed not.
About that. There's a reward in this case.
We're offering a £10,000 reward for any information. A generous reward, I feel.
OK, well, let's hope somebody tonight can call in with some help. Here's the number. It's a free call if you can help. You don't have to give your name if you don't want to. Simply call, though, please, if you have any information or any suspicions. If you prefer to call the local police, please do. Here's the number, 01865 266 650. That's 01865 266 650.
Cleared of murder, Mark Weston is this morning back with his family, having spent 10 months in jail, suspected of a brutal crime he did not commit. Described in court as a loner, the odd-job man had protested his innocence all along.
Well, I've done nothing wrong, so I'm not ashamed to go out. Just carry on as normal. I've done nothing wrong, so... Well, I knew that from the beginning, but they still kept saying it was me, though it wasn't. But now they've come to realise they had the wrong person.
Police to reopen their inquiry.
They should get an independent force in to reopen the case and find the right person that done it. Because I feel sorry for Vikki Thompson's children, because they lost a mother, and whoever it may be is still at large.
And after 10 months in prison, it's thought a claim for compensation will be considered in due course. Tim Wilcox, ITN.
Our first reconstruction this month is one of those cases that seems to unite people in grief. Caroline Glachan was the typical girl next door, typical that is for a 14-year-old in Bonhill, just north of Glasgow. That meant on a Saturday night in the summer holidays, sometimes staying out until the early hours. But on the night of Saturday, the 24th of August, something went dreadfully wrong.
Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence daily. Oh, Cecilia.
Caroline was 14 and she thought she was quite grown up, but she still had a lot of childlike ways. The other side, she was the teenager with the clothes and music and the makeup.
Someone's taking my place. Cecilia, you're breaking my...
She was an affectionate child. She always kissed and cuddled before she went to bed, before she went out. She never failed. She even did it with her grandparents. Caroline, she was unique. She was unique to me.
Caroline's hometown, Bonhill, is separated from Renton by the River Leven that flows on to Dumbarton. On Saturday, August the 24th, Caroline spent the afternoon visiting friends on both sides of the Leven, and shortly after 9 that evening she took her normal route home along the river.
Mum!
Are you wearing my earrings again?
I'm just borrowing them, honey.
Honey, me. You know you're not allowed to take things without asking.
You never wear them anyway.
You got a name yet? Caroline's mother was going out that evening, heading off with her fiancé to celebrate her 40th birthday.
Mind your time. Aye.
No, listen to me. You mind your time, lady. I don't want you staying out all night, do you hear me?
Aye. Is that my keys?
Aye.
Right. Have a nice time. Mwah. Enjoy your birthday dinner.
Aye. Bye.
Bye.
Caroline met up with one of her friends, and together they spent the next couple of hours drifting round and meeting pals. At 10 to midnight, they left a friend's flat and started walking once again.
Caroline was one of my closest friends. She made me laugh, and that evening we were just going to visit some friends.
Do you want to stay at my house tonight? My mum's away out. It's their birthday. Aye, whatever. Right, well, I'm going to see my pals. Do you want to come with me?
No, I just want to stay and watch a video.
Right, you take my keys. I'll just go myself. Hey, guys, come here. Hey, guys, come here.
This is a few hundred yards away at about the same time. Who was on that scrambler bike? He's an important witness because he was on the towpath that Caroline was heading for.
You can watch a video when I get back.
What videos have you got?
There's hundreds of them. Just keep Joanne company. I'll be back about 2.
Aye, neighbour.
Right, will we do that, Lottie? Yeah. My way, see you later. See you later.
So, not keen on watching the video, Caroline now took to the towpath across town to find her other friends. This taxi had just picked up a shift worker from a warehouse beside the river.
I know her. Wonder what she's doing down here at this time of the night.
The man was about 20 to 25 years old, about 5'4" to 5'6", average build. He had sideburns, sharp features and was clean shaven. The jacket seemed to be a green colour and the hood had a light lining.
Caroline was due back at 2 o'clock, but I was that tired I just fell asleep before she was due in.
This man lives a couple of hundred yards from the river.
I was asleep and just heard these 2 screams, loud. I jumped out of my bed and I looked towards the waterside. There wasn't a soul or a movement. I went back to my bed and on and off, thinking what could have happened.
Caroline's body was in the water. She had been violently attacked and by now had been dead for some hours. She was 14.5 years old.
Dear Mrs. Glachan, it's very difficult to find the words right now, but I wanted to let you know how deeply sorry I am about Caroline. She was a very special wee girl and we were all very fond of her. She used to visit us regularly and would just sit for a chat. We always ended up laughing. She took a genuine interest in people and we got to know Caroline more than most because of her personality. I miss her terribly and will never forget her. Our prayers and thoughts are with you.
She was my life. She was everything. I always felt she was a gift. And it was, you'll not get any more special gift than what she was to me.
Obviously a very popular and much loved young girl. Jeanette Joyce, you have an artist impression, as we saw on the film, of a man seen following Caroline, but you also have a likeness of someone you'd like to come forward as well, haven't you?
Yes, tonight we're releasing an e-fit of a man who we believe regularly walks his dog in Dillyship Park in Old Bourne Hill. Now, we believe he's had some amount of contact, a small amount of contact with Caroline, and although he hasn't been seen for some months, we'd still like him to come forward so we can eliminate him from the inquiry. And he's described as 30-35 years of age, stocky built. He is tanned skinned, a ruddy complexion, has dark hair, a dark moustache, and wears black clothing, and including a black baseball cap.
Now, witness is obviously very important at that time of night. The Vale of Leven Academy is quite close to where she was attacked, isn't it?
Yes, the Vale of Leven Academy and the grounds of the academy overlook the part of the towpath where Caroline was attacked. Now, about midnight, we know that 2 people left the grounds of the academy. One is a female, and we would ask them to come forward. If they're listening to this programme tonight and recognise themselves, please telephone us now.
Could there be many other people on the towpath at that time of night?
Well, I believe because the towpath is so dark, Caroline's attacker knew the area and was comfortable there. I would appeal for fishermen who use the towpath, including poachers, to contact us without delay. And I would just send a message to the poachers: I'm not interested in why you were down there, but what you saw and what you heard could be vital to the inquiry. And I would really remind the public in general that we're approaching Christmas, and Caroline's mum and dad have lost a much-loved daughter, in fact, their only child.
Jeanette Joyce, thank you very much. We're all with you on that. There is also a substantial reward in this case as well. Here is the number 0500 600 600. There are BBC researchers here along with the detectives. That's 0500 600 600. And there are more investigating officers waiting now in Dumbarton. The number there, if you prefer to call, is 01389 822 000. That's Dumbarton 822 000.
Don't have nightmares, sleep well. Good night.